share those solutions. Any other way to characterize the spirit of force? Arun? There's one more.
Trying to be empathetic about the end user problems, right?
So empathetic about end user's problems.
Put yourself in the other person's shoe and think about it. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, there's one more.
Transparency is one thing that comes in. So when your source is public, it's also transparent and auditable.
Yeah, it's a spirit of force. The spirit of force is about transparency. Like spirit. I want everything about force in one word or 3 words.
Maybe not like a core value, but like an add-on.
Okay, fine. So I'm not going to waste much more time on that. I actually wanted to type it down, but since there are only like 3-4 answers, what is engineering all about? Why do people do engineering? Just go on. Just raise your hands and get this one. What is the spirit of engineering? Just describe it in 1 word or 2 word or 3 word.
Building stuff and solving problems.
Building stuff and solving problems. Thank you so much. What's your name? Himanshu, thank you for the previous answer. Building stuff and solving problems. Does everyone agree with that's the spirit of engineering? Because if so, then we don't have to waste time on that. Cool. So anyone else has a disagreeing opinion or a dissenting opinion? Because dissent is important. Any other opinion? That is not the spirit of engineering. Problem solving and building stuff is not the spirit of engineering. Can you give I don't know if the wireless works too. How much time do you have? Like what time do I have to end? Absolutely. Including question answer.
So you still have around 20 to 25 minutes. That's all.
So 12 o'clock is when I target. Okay.
Alright.
You didn't. I hope this is a better spirit than problem solving and building stuff.
Building, creating, maintaining, inventing, designing, developing.
Oh, okay. This is like the three idiots answer, like 5-6 comments. Cool. But can I would you disagree with what Himanshu said? It's almost the same. Right?
Yeah.
Building and but also maintaining. Cool. So next spirit check. What is the spirit of free software or force? This is my actual question. That was just a proxy question to get you engaged. You've been listening to talks and there's no point in repeating the same points. So what would you say is the spirit of force? Just the way we describe engineering is about problem solving and building things. What's the spirit of force? Why do people do it wrong? All or none or this or that could be wrong, but at least it helps us to think. A reductionist way of thinking. The easy path, in my opinion, is can you go to the next? Can you identify this?
Bharos.
You will not give it one more chance. Let's give some others. This corner or that corner. I have the other mic. There's another mic there. Give it to them. Shane Nigam. What is that? Why did I put that there under easy path?
Some wrong way, some students in NIT.
Students are. See the logos on the right side. Is it students? Do you think the students were doing?
It's a company.
Did you see the press release that IIT
It's a company incubated by IIT.
The Department of Science and Technology, which is supposed to build technologies for the entire country, funded an incubator or a startup out of Indian Institute of Technology Madras. IIT Madras, supposed to be the premier any IIT or NIT for that matter. I'm sure not a lot of people here are NIT people, so I can bash NITs and IITs. The premier most institutes of the country. The director, I suppose, was one of the person in the press release, and the other person was the founder of the startup, JNK Ops, so Karthik Iyer, and Kamakodi. They released this saying this is a indigenous operating system. The word indigenous was deliberately used. Atmanirbhar, completely developed by India. No mention of anything Android except for this screenshot on the slides, which clearly shows
AOSP.
Android open source keyboard, Android keyboard AOSP, and there are some contributors of Indie keyboard here who know that Android open source keyboard is tightly linked to Android operating.
Maybe the male-female ratio, in some particular domain.
Male-female ratio in particular. That's a very good guess. I think in many domains the female representation would be even lower. Correct?
It might be the percentage of proprietary users and non-proprietary users. 68. Yes, in India you can take it in the Chachi condition.
Okay, so the year of Linux desktop is 2023. There are 32% Linux users. Actually, this is the urban-rural population divide. 90 crore Indians live in rural areas, and the rest lives. So around 32% are urban. So I'm just going to claim as a fact, you can verify that just by being in an urban area, we are enjoying lots of privileges. That a lot of things work for us. We have a movie theater, we have a tertiary care hospital, we have good public transport system. I don't know why this room is very hot, but we have colleges, we have a lot of things. So urban by default means you have a lot of things, and rural means you do not have a lot of things. So I'm going to claim that 68% of Indians are not enjoying a lot of privileges. And the next slide. So this is from a recent news, so you can try to guess. Any quizzes here? Quiz, like quiz week. Are you trying to answer this, or you're a quizzer? You're both. You're both. Okay. Professor.
The income, the top 1% hold the 40% wealth.
Yes.
Say the next 10%.
So the top 1% Indians have that much percentage of wealth, 40.5%. So, and then top 10% has 77, and the upper half has 97%. So that leaves, how much does the lower half of Indians have wealth? Is that what? Puppets. Commits, yes. Commits to NIC Delhi / Arogya Setu _ Android public. And then code, there are some merge branch master of github.com / Arogya Setu / something. So, to cut a long story short, it was developed by some private entities, which is absolutely fine. I'm not anti-private entities. But then the government, again, I'm not trying to be anti-government either, but there was a lie that we have developed a solution which is completely public and it's open source. So one of the titles I gave Joseph to give us a speech is force as a tool for exclusion in the healthcare scenario of India. And Arogya Setu, if you remember, there was no study about whether it works or not. Contact tracing through a Bluetooth device, whether it works or not, there was absolutely no this thing. But everyone was like, install Arogya Setu, you don't need, at that time there was no vaccine either, so fair point, you don't need anything else, put a mask on, use Arogya Setu, you're done, and sit at home, or something like that. So, these are all easy paths in my opinion. These are like, okay, I know programming, I'm a graduate from IIT or NIT or any other place, and I can make a lot of money, I can raise funds, and therefore, let me build something and then sell it. If I can sell it, and if I can convince enough people, or fool enough people in my opinion, then I am successful, or then I have done work in my life. That's how a lot of engineers in our country think, is my opinion. A lot of doctors also, a lot of lawyers also, a lot of all kinds of professionals who come from that allied background. So then I deposit that against a hard path, which is in the next slide. I say that there are certain values which following which would be really hard. It's 12 o'clock. Can I question for fun. Yeah. So there are some values which are really hard. I'm not saying they are easy, and that's why I put them in the hard part, which includes the spirit of free software, which is sharing and benefit of others. Did I put that? No, I didn't put that. Software freedom to put users in control. The spirit of free software, not the license, not the word open being thrown around everywhere. Whether it has that spirit that the user should be in control versus you use software to control people. So even if the license is GPL, AGPL or even more strict versions of it, if the user is not in control, is it really free software? If the equity consideration is not there, if your software is trying to perpetuate the inequities, if you're building JavaScript build tools for the one person, who uses JavaScript build tools? Web developers. Who are web developers producing things for? Most often they are producing things for an NGO or a company who already have a product, and then this product is sold to again one person. So there's a lot of recirculation of that 70% wealth in that 1% category, and a lot of products and tools that we develop are geared towards that 1%. Is my this thing. And then yeah, next one. So basically my question is whether you are the okay, so the next slide, I'm only talking about the moral imperative. So there are many reasons why we should use free software, some of which, all of which Deepika covered. The moral imperative of why we should use free software is the only thing I'm going to talk about. And that's why I want you to interact with me, because if you have a disagreement, just raise your hands and someone will give you a mic and we can debate it right there. Aravind? So if you agree with this statement, that's on the slide, please read it out together. 3, 2, 1.
All individuals are equal.
All humans are equal, but some are more equal than others.
Okay, cool. So you disagree. Is there anyone else disagreeing? Say Abraham. If you disagree, you have to disagree now. Otherwise, okay. Arun, you're disagreeing. What's your name? Prasad. You're disagreeing with this statement, right? Cool. Everyone else is agreeing. You're disagreeing. Cool. Next. So now a bit about me, because there's a lot of mystery around what I do in a day-to-day life. And some people take from my blog without verifying. I don't know if all of that is true. Basically, there are 3 ways people look at me. Either they think, okay, I'm a doctor who knows some scripting, maybe PowerPoint, Excel, and or the people are like, okay, this person had no idea how to do medicine, so they shifted their career to programming. And then there are people who think, I know neither medicine nor programming. So I tend to believe that I am the 4th category, which is I'm a good doctor. As proof, I will just claim that I worked in a rural tribal hospital for 2 years, managed all kinds of patients there, delivery, pediatrics, orthopedics, fractured bones, emergencies, life or death situations, all of that, and also handling administration a bit, not a lot. And then as a programmer, I've contributed to some of those projects, but more or less I make a lot of money as a programmer, as a full stack engineering consultant. Most of the stacks, many of the stacks I've used or learned. I can read more programming languages than I can write, so I can at least debug code. So I claim that I'm both a good programmer and a modern medicine practitioner.
Going to be
title
engineer.
Going to be engineers, please raise your hands. Going to be engineers, also raise your hands. Like everyone who are either going to be engineer, wanting to be engineer, or are already identifying yourself as engineer. So who else is remaining now? There. So There are some wired mics which you can give to the front.
Let's do that.
So basically I treat myself as a scientist, not as a engineer. Okay, fine. The question is, I want to just identify how you identify yourself. So, because later on when I talk about myself, I will make the point that how we identify ourselves and what we think of ourselves will influence a lot of what we do. The talk was actually titled like that, with an etc at the end. Somehow Joseph forgot to copy paste that etc. Without the etc, it changes the meaning. So I'm not going to say force is the solution. I'm going to make a point that we will need force in a obtuse way. So can you Arvind, move to the next slide. So audience check. One more thing is this is going to be a lot of interaction, and so if you want to come forward and be near a wired mic, you are free to. If you want to like put your phone in airplane mode, you are free to. Just if you want to concentrate, if you feel like, it's optional, up to you. The next one. Okay, my sound. Apparently my sound is better quality in this. Is it better? Yeah. Okay. So if you can expand force in the FOSSMeet force, please keep your hands raised. I'm still trying to assess who am I speaking to. You're not comfortable expanding force. Force, you're okay. Force, the word force. Are you okay? Yeah, you are. Please raise your hand. Just okay. Fine. Keep it up. So the next thing is if you can identify the word libre, or however it is pronounced, libre, and libre not gratis. If you can understand what this means, okay, there is a significant section of people who are not raising their hands. So would you explain what it means?
So I'm not exactly sure. It has something to do with being liberated or being free. I'm not exactly sure about the definition part.
Okay, is there anyone who is like really sure about the libre not gratis part? Yeah.
Yeah. So basically,
As a total, it's not your income per annum or per month. So it's the total. So if you own a scooter, you're probably scooter is not 20 lakh, but if you own a car and something else, you're in the top 10%. So next slide. So I will just talk about, because I come from the domain where I interact a lot with health. There's a term called catastrophic health expenditure. Actually, it's expenditure. I mistyped. Any idea what that could be? Yeah. Prasad.
Unexpected health expenses.
Unexpected, yes, but why is it called catastrophic?
Because it's not affordable for the poorest of the poor of this country.
Correct. So something like that. Catastrophic health expenditure is when someone in your family household becomes sick and they lose. There's a different threshold. Some people say 10%, some people say 25% of your income or of your money. So if you are admitting your child or your brother to a hospital and you lose 25% of your whole wealth, that's a catastrophic health expenditure. Now, according to WHO's numbers, 50 million Indians every year go from above the poverty line to below the poverty line because of catastrophic health expenditures. 50 million is 5 crore, like it's like 5%. And then they might recover later, but the point is every year people are struggling to stay above the poverty line. Now, what is the poverty line in India? how much per month is the poverty line?
3,000.
3,000 per month. Okay. Prasanna or Prasad? Prasad. Any other guesses?
It's around 1.6.
Poverty line in India. 3,000. 1,000. Okay. Subin says 1,000.
It's around $1.6 per day or something like that.
1.6 per day. Can't calculate very quickly. I mean INR per month.
Around.
You are saying 1,000 INR.
So around 48 $50.
Quick. I have only 30 minutes.
$50 means.
Okay, fine. So Subin is right about urban India. 1,000 is the. I mean, there are different estimates vary. Different states have different estimates. So in different states they have different thresholds based on the expenses in their country. But it is nowhere around 3,000. It's much lower than that. It's around 816 in rural areas, 2,000 in urban areas. That's the poverty line, and that's where all the politics happens. And people are almost below or above this. Almost all Indians are below or above this. And catastrophic health expenditures push 5 crore Indians every year down it. So every 2 seconds, one person. So the next slide. This is again another medical topic, but I see health in everything, including computer science. So I will bring it up. What is gender affirmative hormone therapy? They put hormone, gender affirmative therapy. And there's a lot of risks associated with it. The science and technology isn't coming up at all to do things like this. So again, if you are one among these people who are affected by or the lack of research on these topics, you are probably excluded from the society a lot more. So the context I'm trying to draw is, what's the next slide? All human beings are equal, which many of us repeated. Do you still stand by that? If you have changed your mind about all human beings being equal, can you raise your hand? Like earlier you said, okay, change your mind. Thank you.
I think all human beings
Should be equal. Fine, but this you think the statement needs to be modified.
If you say all human beings are equal, it's not true in the current situation.
Correct.
But in ideal situation, all human
Should be equal. Should be equal. That I agree with that. That's what I also believe in. So, do you at least agree with what Mujib is saying? All human beings are equal in the current context is wrong. Should be equal. That's what you meant. That's what you meant when you were reading it out? Yes. Yeah, fine. Then next slide. So, quiz time again. What is this slide talking about? So,
Can I ask?
Yeah, you can.
The difference between equality and equity?
Yes, very good. Which one is equality? Or
Equality is the first, the second one, and the first one is I'm not sure.
First one is equality, the second one is equity.
So, second as in you're reading left to right.
Yes, left.
Yeah, okay, fine. So, next slide. Any difference in this picture? You're all concentrating, right? You can still turn off your phones if you want. I don't know if you can see from there, but in the first frame there is 3 crates, and each one gets a crate. In the second one, equity, the shortest child gets 2 crates, the medium gets 1. And in the third one it says liberation and the fence is removed. The barrier is removed. And then there's a fourth box, it says your idea here. Now this liberation, some people call it justice, some people, you can call it different words. But I think a lot of people have a problem with the idea of redistributing things. A lot of people might have a problem. I don't have a problem, but I'm saying some of you might have a political problem with. And there's a lot of risks associated with it. The science and technology isn't coming up at all to do things like this. So again, if you are one among these people who are affected by or the lack of research on these topics, you are probably excluded from the society a lot more. So the context I'm trying to draw is, what's the next slide? All human beings are equal, which many of us repeated. Do you still stand by that? If you have changed your mind about all human beings being equal, can you raise your hand? Like earlier you said, okay, change your mind. Thank you.
I think all human beings should be equal.
Should be equal, fine. But this, you think the statement needs to be modified.
If you say all human beings are equal, it is not true in the current situation.
Correct.
But in an ideal situation, all human beings
Should be equal. Should be equal. That I agree with that. That's what I also believe in. So, do you at least agree with what Mujib is saying? All human beings are equal in the current context is wrong. Should be equal. That's what you meant. That's what you meant when you were reading it out?
Yes.
Yeah, fine. Then next slide. So, quiz time again. What is this slide talking about? So, this is
Can I ask?
yeah.
The difference between equality and equity.
Yes, very good. Which one is equality?
Equality is the first, the second one, and the first one is equity. I'm not sure.
First one is equality, the second one is equity.
So second as in you're reading left to right.
Yes, left. Right.
Yeah, okay, fine. So next slide. Any difference in this picture? You're all concentrating, right? You can still turn off your phones if you want. I don't know if we can see from there, but in the first frame there is three crates, and each one gets a crate. In the second one, equity, the shortest child gets 2 crates, the medium gets 1. And in the third one it says liberation, and the fence is removed. The barrier is removed. And then there's a fourth box, it says your idea here. Now this liberation, some people call it justice, some people, you can call it different words. But I think a lot of people have a problem with the idea of redistributing things. A lot of people might have a problem. I don't have a problem, but I'm saying some of you might have a problem.